Welcome to this graduation ceremony of CQUniversity Australia. Please be seated. At CQUniversity, our graduation ceremonies are all about the celebration of achievements. So we would be more than happy for you to cheer out loud as your friends and family members cross the stage today. You will notice that the university mace is located centre stage. The mace is a symbol of the authority of the Council of the University and signifies the university's responsibility to work for the sustenance of our present world and to ensure that future generations are not disadvantaged but are enriched by our efforts. I now invite Mrs. Denise Tomlin to deliver the Welcome to Country.
I thank Creator Spirit for giving me life so that my voice and the voice of others can be spoken and listened to across this sacred land. I thank the ancestors of the Terrabalene Bunda and my people, the Kabi peoples, for allowing my feet to walk in safely across this sacred country. I am a member of the Kabi clan and family group, and the honour of addressing you today was bestowed upon me by a senior elder who is also Terrabalene Bunda and Gurang. It is with deep humility and gratitude to my ancestors that I address you here today. This beautiful city of Bundaberg is built on the country that has owned the Terrabalene Bunda peoples for over 40,000 years. They are peoples with whom Kabi peoples have interacted with since time immemorial. The traditional owners of this country are the Terrabalene Bunda peoples, and the Gurang peoples also share this country. Their neighbours, the Waka Wakas, the Walu, the Gurang, the Bachelor and the Kabi peoples marked their songlines across this country from the marker's Creator Spirit placed in the landscape, and that represent ancient borders of the different groups who resided here with permissions from the Terrabalene Bunda and Gurang peoples. Ancestral songlines were marked for trade, for visits, for ceremonies, for warring, for cultural exchanges and relationship connections, and these songlines crisscross under the foundations of this city today. These songlines continue to dictate the cultural protocols to which Aboriginal peoples from other places are obligated to follow and who come into Terrabalene Bunda country to do their business. Now, a graduation ceremony is and will be a lasting memory in the minds and hearts of you students. It is as if for 3 or 4 years, or sometimes even more, that a student has been on a journey and they have finally returned to the place where they began that journey. But things have changed. When they started, there was such hope, such excitement, and this was all energising through their life dreaming. Today, each student can pause, turn back and see the place from whence they came. The eyes that look back see different images now because the person who is looking back has become more than they expected. Not only have they become the person that they want to become, they have become wiser, stronger, more skilled, more focused, and more determined to fulfill the dreaming of their life purpose. Now, graduation ceremony is like the initiation ceremonies that my people celebrate when we Aboriginal people decide to go through the law or train to become a clever man or woman, or train to become a healer or an elder, just like my mentor is and has been doing. My mentor's family still practice these ceremonies, and I have been taught to understand clearly that my clan people who gained their initiation were cut or burnt on the skin in a special way. Now, these marks showed others that members of my clan had undergone an education and training in Aboriginal law and Aboriginal spirituality. Today, as you graduate, you are going to receive a certificate of a degree. And for each of you who receive it, you each know the pain, the challenges, the joys, the obstacles you each overcame to arrive at this particular point. Besides being a beautiful memory builder, graduation ceremonies also acknowledge, they honour, they praise and they demonstrate gratitude and appreciation to those who are graduating. The university, the staff of CQUniversity Bundaberg have been honoured because you came to this campus to prepare yourself to walk with confidence upon the stage of our local community, our states, our national and global community. Those are the stages that many of you will be seen walking on. Now, my prayer is that when you do your business in the world around you, you will remember where being who you want to be began. I pray that the words that come out of your mouth and float across the places that your feet will walk upon, that your words will be wise, filled with peaceful messages and justice, underpinned with equity and equality, and that your actions will match your words with integrity. Do not forget CQUniversity. Come back and visit us. My words are true, and the blessing that I offer you are words that have been true for 40,000 years. Janjaring Dahagana Ya Umbaya Nulambaya Dahagana Ya Wow Gao. These are words from Kabi cultural heritage. This is a blessing to my people to honour and bless others, and they mean, may the spirit forces of Mother Earth guide and protect your inner self and truth. Welcome to my country's dreaming for your future.
Thank you, Denise. I now invite the Chancellor, Mr. Rennie Fritchie, to deliver the address of welcome.
Good afternoon, distinguished guests, friends, family, staff, and most importantly, new graduates. Welcome to everybody. This is the day, of course, for our graduates, and I bid them a special welcome. You've come a long, hard journey. You've succeeded. You're here today. Warm congratulations from the university community on that achievement. I'd also like to give a special welcome to all the parents, relatives, friends and supporters of our graduates. Due to your efforts, in many cases very large efforts, they are also here today, so thank you for your contribution. Before I begin, I'd like to formally acknowledge the traditional owners of the land we stand on today, the Terrabalang Bunda people and the Garang Garang and their elders past and present. This is very much a day of celebration for you new graduates. And each of you made an important decision several years ago. The question was, what can I do today that will best ensure the welfare of myself, my family and future generations? And you made a far-reaching decision to undergo higher education at CQUniversity. We all know that on average university graduates accumulate more prosperity as they go forward than people without a university degree. We also know on average that the starting salaries of our university are amongst the highest in Australia. We know that university degrees open doors and opportunities that may have not been available or not as readily available to those without degrees. But most importantly, you and your supporters have made an investment in the future. That is through the contribution you will make to society and also your children who are more likely to come to university because you yourselves have come to university. University is difficult and stressful, and it is long and it is hard work. All our graduating students know that, but it's very important that I convey that message also to all of the supporters outside, many of whom I'm sure already know that. Some of our graduating students have relocated to study here, some from quite long distances, leaving their homes, friends and families. Some have given up work. On the other hand, others have taken up multiple jobs to be able to get themselves through university. Some have sacrificed dreams of travel or an active social life, and in some cases, relationships have been sacrificed. Most will have sacrificed countless hours of sleep, and almost all will have lost valuable time with their loved ones. In arriving here today, you've demonstrated, among other things, commitment, dedication and persistence, otherwise you would not be here. Along the way you've had some successes and victories, and maybe you've also had some challenges and even some failures, but you've learned from those failures. All those things together have carried you to this day and will serve you well for the future. Our university motto is Doctrina Perpetua, perpetual learning or forever learning. And I think all of you know that although today is an extremely important educational milestone for you, that there will probably be other educational milestones during your careers. On average, we know that new people graduating today will have 5 career changes or more during the course of their working life. Just think about that. And obviously you will need technical training, managerial training, commercial training, and of course we'll be very happy for you to come back to our university for that training. Once again, I would like to warmly congratulate you on behalf of the university community and on behalf of the council for a fine achievement. Well done and enjoy your day. Thank you. I ask the Vice-Chancellor and President, Professor Scott Bowman, to deliver the opening address.
Mr. Chancellor, can I also welcome you to this graduation ceremony and congratulate you. Let me start by just telling you something about CQUniversity, because it is a completely unique university, and the aspect I want to talk very briefly about is that you have attended a truly national university. In fact, the only university, with maybe the exception of the Australian Catholic University, that can claim to be a national university. Your university has campuses in, let me see if I can remember them all, Cairns, Mackay, Emerald, Rockhampton, Gladstone, Bundaberg, Noosa, Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Gold Coast, Adelaide and Geraldton. Did I forget them? Got them all. So you come from a university that is dispersed all over the country. And we really form a bit of a family in the university. And I think it's fair to say that the whole of the university family looked on in absolute horror earlier in this year when we saw things unfolded in Bundaberg, when we saw the floods coming up, and much more than a flood. We're used to floods in central Queensland, but this was different to the normal floods we get. And we watched with horror from afar, and we stayed in contact with our fantastic group of staff here, and we found out what was happening to them personally. We heard terrible stories about people's houses being washed away. And then that feeling of horror started to move on to a feeling of inspiration. Inspiration for our staff, from our staff in the university, who suddenly came to the fore and really turned the university over to the community, made the kitchens available to cook food, made it into a press centre for the town, and really just opened the doors. We were inspired by that because we want to be Australia's most engaged university, and here was a group of our own really engaging in just a way that we would expect our university to engage. But then we became inspired really by the people of Bundaberg, the whole of Bundaberg, seeing them pulling together and working together and turning things around very quickly. I managed to get down here probably about 3 or 4 days after the floodwaters started to go down. And Andy Bridges, the acting head of campus, took me to some parts of the town that he'd been working on over the weekend to clean up the mud and clean out. And he said, I'll show you some of the areas I was working on. It's pretty bad down there. So we went down to this street, and I got to tell you, it wasn't pretty bad at all. It looked pretty good. It had been cleared up. There was no mess outside. And even Andy was amazed that within a matter of few days, things had been cleared up. And we know that North Bundaberg, that's still going through a lot of hardship, but we're inspired by what this city has achieved over the last few months. And I think our graduates today should take inspiration from what's happened in Bundaberg towards the end of your degree, or just after the end of your degree. You actually see a crisis happening, and you see the absolute best in people coming out. And I think there's that old saying, never let a crisis go to waste. Always make the best of a crisis. And you can see that's exactly what Bundaberg's done. I think coming to this graduation, those of us that don't live in Bundaberg came with some trepidation, because we always love coming to Bundaberg. And you probably don't even notice it living in Bundaberg, maybe you do, but this is an incredibly special place. If you have a look at the city centre, the heritage buildings, the facade on the buildings, I'm sure you just walk by them and don't hardly notice them. But when you come here, you realise that Bundaberg's got something that hardly anywhere else in Australia has got. It's really special. And I think we came down with trepidation. Was that all going to be gone? Was this just going to be completely wrecked? Well, I've got to say, you have made the absolute best of a crisis. I don't think I've ever seen the city looking better than it is. And also the energy from the people here. You don't see a downtrodden people that have just come through a terrible natural phenomenon. You see real spirit. And I say that to our graduates. You will have times in your careers and in your personal lives when you all go through crisis. Make the most of those crises. Bundaberg has shown you that you can come out of times like that much stronger than you go into them. And I hope what you've learned at the university will give you the resilience to be able to do that. Look, have an absolutely fantastic time today. You've worked incredibly hard. We know that many of you are not typical university students, whatever that means anymore, but we know that many of you have had family responsibilities, have worked hard and have been doing full-time jobs while you've been getting your degrees, maybe looking after elderly parents. We know you have worked really hard. Many of you have studied by distance learning, which can be very, very lonely. But you've got there. You've got to this day. Really enjoy it. I expect everyone that walks over this stage to have a massive big smile on their face. I expect everyone to say thank you and acknowledge the work that the people at the back, your family and friends, have put in. Have a really good time because you really deserve it.
I now invite the Chancellor to introduce our guest speaker.
Sherry Yabu Karma Harathenian is a senior elder of a Kabu Kabu clan family, a traditional owner and member of the Gurang Gurang and Taparulang Bunda peoples. She's also a director of the Indigenous Wellbeing Centre here in Bundaberg, and has this year taken on the newly established role of the Centre's chaplain as well. Sherry has worked and studied abroad and holds a Bachelor of Applied Science in Indigenous and Community Health and a Master of Criminal Justice. Whilst in Kenya, Sherry worked with the United Nations team on projects concerned with community development and poverty reduction for women. Currently she's involved with peace studies, wisdom paradigms, Aboriginal theology and spirituality, Aboriginal customary law and intercultural reconciliation. In 2008, she and a colleague developed an Indigenous research model that supports Indigenous research aspirations. In the Aboriginal community development arena, she created a transformational management model which was implemented in 2009 to underpin the Indigenous Wellbeing Centre's Aboriginal community control of organisational services. She's written and published a variety of papers on Aboriginal male and female incarceration issues, social and criminal justice inequality, the radicalisation of Aboriginal culture and gender issues. Please join me in welcoming Sherry Yabu Karma Harathenian.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, other dignitaries, university staff, I'm going to just get this out of my hair, students and students' families and loved ones, thank you for gifting me this opportunity to participate in this graduation ceremony of 2013. This graduation ceremony is part of the footprints that are creating the cultural songlines that CQUniversity is making in my sacred country, so as to ensure that in this institution, CQUniversity is owned by and belongs to this country. It is with deep humility that I address you on your amazing day. Graduates, we have come to a quintessential moment in your life history, where a decision you made several years ago has come full circle in the circle of your learning pathway. And you will walk away today knowing that you will never be the same again. The thousands of footprints that this university has made across this country come from students like you and the staff who have walked alongside you, and you studied and now you graduate, leaving behind with them a part of the story that will be your future. It is all these student footprints that are creating songlines across the country. These footprints will continue to be created and strengthened by every student that has and will graduate from this university. You and I may not have known it back then, but our footprints have been taken by Creator Spirit and they are placed in the Australian landscape. No natural or artificial disaster can ever erase them. They are now becoming one of the songlines that crisscross under the foundations of this campus and the Bundaberg city, and they will spread across our nation, across the seas, and across and imprint in other countries. Everywhere you, as a graduate, will go in your lifetime, you are imprinting into other songlines the knowledge, the wisdom, the training, and the learning, and the experiences you have had at this university over the years you have been here. I love the music of Yasawa Barnell. She is a teacher, a poet, and a singer. And she said, and I'm saying it to you today, we are our grandmother's dream prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the spirit of Creator Spirit. Did you know that when you chose to study at university, were you aware that the whole universe was hushed by your thoughts and by your decision to study? Because according to my Aboriginal heritage, when you as a child is born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who you are and who you will become. All the world waited for your coming, excited to see what you will become. Civilization hung in the balance because what you have become, because of the choice you made to study at university, now flows into the world of tomorrow, and that will become part of the choice you made. That morning star not only saw you with your full potential, that morning star sang your life journey, and how your choice to study was going to equip you and fulfill your purpose, the purpose for which you all were born. When I was 17, I stood in a class of around 30 of my peers and told a teacher my dream. I wanted to go to university and study. I was told by that teacher that I could not go to university because I was an Aboriginal, and a university was a place that Aboriginal people did not have access to. He told me that the best thing I could do was to go and try and get a housemaid's job, because that was all an Aboriginal female like me was going to be good at. So I sat the equivalent of the OP, passed all my subjects with marks that told me that I was pretty good at what I had learned. But you see, the lie that I was told was stronger than the truth I knew, and the truth about education that my parents told me. They had taught me that education was the best learning experience that an Aboriginal person needed if they wanted to commit themselves to social justice in a society that was filled with bias, prejudice, hatred and injustice towards my people. I believed my teacher's lie, and I went into employment. I was told that lie in the late 1970s, how things have changed. I still held on to my dream because I saw that other Aboriginal people, like Uncle Charlie Perkins, Marcia Langton, Noel Pearce, Ian Anderson, Bronwyn Fredericks, and my own cousins, Mark Winnerton, Bonnie Robertson and Jackie Huggins, were achieving marvellous things in their sphere of influence and in the academic world. And they were all doing these things because, like you, they had graduated. A degree opens a person up to unimaginable possibilities. I was 39 when I understood that what my teacher had told me was a lie, and with much trepidation, a chip on my shoulder, fear and tenacity, I entered a university's door and commenced my studies and graduated. I finally had a degree, and it was such an exquisite thing to me. Because of what I learned, I was able to travel and work in black communities around the world, in places like the southern parts of the USA, the United Kingdom, several countries in Africa and Southeast Asia and Fiji. And the skills and the learning I acquired as a student at university enhanced my skills and my abilities so that the people that had asked me to go to them were happy and appreciative of my time with them. I was so grateful that they had asked me. Why did they ask me? Simple. I had a degree. A graduation is and will be a lasting memory in the minds and hearts of all of you in this room today. A graduation ceremony is like an initiation ceremony that my people celebrate when we Aboriginal people decide to go through the law or train to become a clever man or woman or train to be a healer or an elder. You are going to receive the entitlement to do good business and good practice and good work in the world around you. Because you're sitting here and soon you will walk across the stage. Besides a graduation ceremony being a beautiful memory builder, they also acknowledge and honour the students that you came with and the staff who were honoured to be there with you in your studies. There will be places where you will see your footprint and where we will see your footprint and where others coming after you who enter this university will see your footprint. But today, not only your families or this university family will watch you from the wings, many of you will be seen walking across the global stage, playing your part in building a future in which you and your descendants will live. You will all be part of building the scaffolding for the future into which you are now going. Although you are a graduate, you are still a student of lifelong learning. Your status of student has changed because you have now been initiated into the ancient circle of graduates. You have become a member of a circle involved and committed to leadership in your field of study. You will be contributing to a living endowment, an endowment that students who come after you will be blessed by. This is the legacy that you leave in the faithful hands of the people at this university. As you graduate today, you are saying to this university, thank you for the learning and the training you have imparted into my life. I leave this institute of higher learning confidently because you have gifted and enhanced the raw materials that I came with, and I have learned and have come to understand that I am now ready to be the centered person who knows what their purpose in life is, and I seize my future in my hands today. As graduates, many of you will go on to become leaders in your careers. Many of you will hold public office, be society officials and civic leaders. You will bring to wherever you go ideas and thoughts and views and opinions that will change the world in which you live. Some of you are thinking about things that have never been thought about before, and despite facing the severe disadvantage of working with minds that are locked in the 20th century, your academic learning will give you the knowledge and give you the wisdom to overcome even that. No matter what your profession you aspire to participate in, I am hopeful that all of you will become professional educators wherever you are, because our world needs people like you to take our societies into the future and create the architecture of a songline that will resonate with peace, unity, love, hope, and respect for each other. Justice wherever you encounter injustice, and where you will use your skills to build networks of caring relationships. It is with this heartfelt joy that I thank you for letting me address you today.
Thank you, Sherry. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to present to you a musical performance by Savi Voce. CQ Savvy. That was beautiful. I now call upon the Vice-Chancellor and President, Professor Scott Bowman, to present the graduates.
Will all graduates please stand and smile? Mr. Chancellor, as Vice-Chancellor and President, I certify to you and to Council that these graduates standing before you today have fulfilled the requirements prescribed by the University, and I ask that you present them with their respective awards.
In the name of the Council and by my authority as Chancellor, I'm delighted to present our newest graduates with their awards. Ladies and gentlemen, please honour them with your applause.
Will all graduates please be seated?
Chancellor, I call upon the Dean of Human, Health and Social Sciences and Acting Head of Bundaberg Campus, Professor Andrew Bridges, to present graduates.
Chancellor, I present to you graduates from the Higher Education Division. Associate Degree of Aviation, Brendan David G. Associate Degree of Building Surveying, Rachel Elizabeth Bonanno. Bachelor of Accounting, Rejoice Goma. Emma Jane Goff. Adrienne Leanne Standfast. Bachelor of Accounting with Distinction, Kendall Jane Morton. Stephanie K. Young. Bachelor of Business, Human Resources Management, Marie Gay Harvey. Bachelor of Business Management, Jessica Marie Lester. Bachelor of Business Marketing with Distinction, Grant Dillon Stevenson. Bachelor of Environmental Health with Distinction, Suzanne Maria Teresa Schuler. Bachelor of Environmental Science, Karen Gibson. Bree Alina Grimer. Ruth Ann Picton. Jessica Mary Yeoman. Bachelor of Environmental Science with Distinction, Saran Jane Judice. Bachelor of Financial Planning, Joseph Rakeshwar Singh. Bachelor of Financial Planning with Distinction, Peter James Macklin. Bachelor of Health Promotion with Distinction, Kerry Lynn Jacobson. Bachelor of Information Technology, Application Development, Nicholas Ryan Shook. Bachelor of Information Technology, Application Development with Distinction, Andrew Kenneth Brunton. Bachelor of Information Technology Co-op with Distinction, Joel Ethan Mortensen. Bachelor of Information Technology Co-op Network Security with Distinction, Samuel Brett MacDonald. Bachelor of Information Technology Network Services, Shane David Hannant. Bachelor of Learning Design, Simon Henry Obst. Bachelor of Learning Management, Early Childhood Education, Deborah Joy Edmonds. Gemma Green. Amanda Lee Hess. Christina Lee Mattiazzi. Laura Louise Morrison. Josephine Ann O'Donnell. Brooke Eddie Taylor. Zelina Lynn Thompson. Rebecca Mary Wright. Bachelor of Learning Management, Early Childhood Education with Distinction, Tessa Rachel Ambry. Bachelor of Learning Management, Primary Education, Karika Beza-Eidenhout. Lynette Marie Bowles. Kelsey Joanne Brosnan. Gabrielle Ruth Cameron. Kate Margaret Connor. Juan Mauricio Esparza. Jessica Amy Ford. Jesse Michael Gadishki. Emma Elizabeth Goodman-Jones. Shannon Amanda Peterson. James Alanson Webb. Rachel Sarah Webb. Bachelor of Learning Management, Primary Education with Distinction, Mitchell Christopher Hart. Crystal Lee Wilson. Bachelor of Learning Management, Secondary and Vocational Education and Training, Sarah Ellen Barletta. Diane Barrett. Caitlin Josephine Christensen. Stephen Peter Cronin. Amanda Lee Murray. Gary Payne. Gregory Charles Smith. Bachelor of Learning Management, Secondary and Vocational Education and Training with Distinction, Kylie Elizabeth Barron. Bachelor of Music with Distinction, Rosalind Marie Horsfall. Bachelor of Nursing, Candace Lynette Aitken. Amanda Florence Anderson. Samantha Jane Bauer. Joan Campbell. Mary Norlin Clancy. Tegan Coyle. Katrina Jane Delahunty. Geoffrey Linda Douglas. Janice Gabrielle. Jane Elizabeth Gahan. Elisa Jane Heel. Brianna Hill. Beverly Gale Hunter. Paige Louisa Hunter. Michelle Stella Irwin. Wendy Louise Kildee. Jodie Louise King. Wendy Regina Laffey. Cassandra Jane Law. Wynette Louise Lloyd-Jones. Tara Jane Mann. Chelsea Victoria Mariner. Kylie Cherie McCracken. Sean William Miller. Krishna Kumari Moon. Catherine Elizabeth Powis. Rachel Haley C. Lisa Jane Shaler. Anita Smith. Claire Stevens. Michelle Lee Stevens. Casey Ann Stevenson. Tanya Louise Stokes. Jackie Elizabeth Thurston. Lauren Renee Walk. Kerin Pamela Williams. Wendy Ann Wilson. Bachelor of Nursing with Distinction, Simon Paolo Dio Almoiti. Amanda Louise English. Jacqueline Margaret Haskew. Janka Teresa Rickards. Alina Slater. Bachelor of Occupational Health and Safety, Blair Curtis Felch. Gregory Dean Gothman. Drazen Ligo. Nikki Marie Sayers. Rebecca Elizabeth Street. Bachelor of Science, Applied Biology, Christy Ann Mariette. Bachelor of Social Work, Lindsay Marie James. Emma Marie Potter. Bachelor of Financial Planning, Bachelor of Accounting, Jessica Caitlin Bunch. Natasha Denise Johnson. Graduate Certificate in Environmental Management, Stephen Elroy Walters. And also Bachelor of Environmental Science. Graduate Certificate in Tertiary Education, Katrina Marie Lane Krebs. Graduate Diploma of Management with Distinction, Amy Marie Brash. Master of Information Technology, Mitch Miller. Master of Management, Human Resources with Distinction, Lee Ann Pickstone. Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduates.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to present to you another musical performance by Sadie Vaucher. campus, Professor Andrew Bridges, to present the CQUniversity Bundaberg Graduation Medalist.
Mr. Chancellor, it's an honour for me to present to you the winner of the CQUniversity Bundaberg Graduation Medal. This medal is awarded to a graduating student from the Bundaberg campus in recognition of an outstanding academic record and contribution to the university community. This year's winner is Joel Mortensen.
I now call upon Mrs. Diane Barrett to deliver the response by the graduate's representative.
The fundamental goal of education is to prepare a learner to act independently in the world, which is to say, to make appropriate choices about how to behave in the world. Chancellor Renee Fritchie, Vice Chancellor Professor Scott Bowman, guest speaker Sherry Yavu Karma Hararithian, fingers crossed I got that right, and distinguished guests. For those that don't know me, my name is Diane Barrett. I am a happily married mother of, well, my husband and I have been together for 20 years almost. I have 4 beautiful children, and today I officially graduated. To my fellow graduates, can you believe we have finally made it? I just cannot help but feel such an overwhelming sense of achievement and accomplishment. And this has been made possible through sacrifice and sheer hard work. And nobody knows that better than those who have supported us over the past several years. They are the partners, the parents, the siblings, the children, the mentors, the lecturers, and everyone else in between. Those that were in the impact zone were those that lived with us. When you study, it is consuming. You live it, eat it, and breathe it. So it is only natural that you practice your newfound knowledge on those closest to you. During my study to become a teacher, I, of course, practiced on my 4 beautiful children the teaching strategies that I learned. Accounting graduates, I bet you went home and practiced on the family budget. Family of nurses, I feel very sorry for you. I can only imagine what you must have went through. Because we spend many hours with our heads in the books or in front of a computer, I thought it would be appropriate to provide you with some tips for identifying when you have spent too much time studying at university. And the tips for identifying go like this. The other man in your life is Dave from the library. Standing in line at the ATM, trying dreadfully to remember your PIN code, and all you can think of is your student ID number. Forgetting to put a cup of coffee or a cup in the coffee machine before pressing the buttons. How many of us have done that? Too many. Driving through town and your 5-year-old son in the back seat points and says, "Mum, there's Dave from uni riding his bike home." we started our journey with the decision to study. So a big thanks to those that convinced us this was the right thing to do. For some of us, our first experience with study was the STEPS program. And thank you to Karen Seary and her team for preparing us for university. You really gave us a head start, especially when it came to referencing and putting the full stops and commas in exactly the right spot. For most of us, though, our first on-campus experience was O Week. Thank you to Michelle Parlew and her team for organising fun events such as toe races and belly bumpers. It gave us the opportunity to meet and bond with our fellow students. Thank you to our librarian, our newest member, and her team in the library for always pointing us in the right direction to an appropriate book or an appropriate resource. But most of all, thank you for maintaining the lifeblood of the university, and that is the coffee machine. And to the most important people who support us, our family, our parents, our partners, our children. Thanks. Thank you. These words just don't seem to say enough. I know I will be forever grateful for the wonderful opportunity that you have helped to make possible. When we go out into the big wide world, there will be many people to tell us that a degree is nothing more than a piece of paper. But everyone sitting in this room here today knows that it is so much more than that. So graduates, I call on you to honour the sacrifices that you and your loved ones have made. Go out there and don't just be what you want to be. Go out there and be the best you can be. And finally, I would like to leave you with a quote from Oscar Wilde. There are two things that you can never be. You can never be overdressed, and you can never be overeducated. Thanks, Helen. They told me it was under the lectern, so I was looking for it. I also get the wonderful honour to present to our guest speaker, Sherry, a gift on behalf of the CQUniversity. Sherry, thank you for bestowing upon us the honour and responsibility of stamping our educational footprint on future generations through the continual learning and growth of our community.
I now invite our Chancellor, Mr. Rennie Fritchie, to deliver the charge to graduates.
Thank you, Diane, for a great speech. I now ask all graduates to please stand. I charge you as graduates of CQUniversity Australia to maintain a commitment to lifelong learning, to strive for truth, integrity and compassion, to contribute to your chosen profession, and by the application of your abilities to support and nurture the communities of which you are a part. May your awards bring honour to your university, to your chosen profession and to yourselves. Good luck. I now ask all of you to turn around and face all those parents and supporters and relatives in the rear and give them a good clap. Please be seated.
gentlemen, that concludes the ceremony. On behalf of the Chancellor, members of the University Council and CQU Bundaberg staff, I'd like to thank you for attending and invite you to join us for refreshments at the end of the ceremony just across the road at the Civic Centre. I ask that you please stand while the official party retires.